A 330 horsepower sports car that can hit 200,000 miles without breaking a sweat and costs less than a used Corolla. Sounds impossible? Meet the Infiniti G37, the performance bargain that's been hiding in plain sight. The Infiniti G37 is what happens when you take Nissan's legendary VQ engine, stuff it in a rear-wheel drive chassis shared with the 370Z, wrap it in luxury, and somehow forget to charge BMW prices. This isn't just another used car recommendation. It's a future classic that delivers passion and practicality in equal measure. Today, we're diving deep into why the G37 deserves your attention, from its bulletproof VQ37 VHR engine to Stage 3 turbo builds pushing 600 horsepower. We'll cover which years to buy, how it stacks up against the BMW 335i and Lexus IS 350, and why the aftermarket scene is absolutely thriving. Buckle up. This is everything an enthusiast needs to know about Infiniti's best-kept secret. Let's start with what makes this car special: the VQ37 VHR engine. This 3.7-liter V6 cranks out 330 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 270 pound-feet of torque at 5,200 RPM. But those numbers only tell part of the story. This engine features VVL, variable valve event and lift, which is Nissan's answer to BMW's Valvetronic. It continuously adjusts valve lift for sharper throttle response and better efficiency. The result? An engine that screams to 7,500 RPM with the kind of linear power delivery that turbocharged cars can't match. The VQ Series won Ward's 10 Best Engines for 14 consecutive years, and this is the pinnacle of that development. With an 11:1 compression ratio, yes, you need premium fuel, but you're rewarded with one of the best-sounding V6 ever made. The engine sits in a front midship position, meaning it's pushed back behind the front axle for better weight distribution. Pair that with a racing-inspired double wishbone front suspension and multi-link rear, and you've got the bones of a proper sports car. Transmission choices? Take your pick. A close-ratio 6-speed manual with a viscous limited slip differential for the purists, or a 7-speed automatic with paddle shifters that's actually pretty good. The manual G37 Sport models come standard with that LSD, something BMW charged extra for or didn't offer at all on the 335i. Numbers don't lie, the G37 can hustle. 0 to 60 happens in 5.0 seconds flat with the 7-speed auto, or about 5.2 with the manual. Quarter mile? You're looking at 13.5 seconds at 105 miles per hour. The fastest recorded was a 2009 G37S sedan with the automatic. Motor Trend got it to 60 in exactly 5 seconds. For context, that's quicker than many modern turbo 4-cylinders claiming to be sporty. But straight-line speed is only part of the equation. Those massive 14-inch front rotors with 4-piston Akebono calipers, the biggest in the class when launched, haul this 3,800-pound coupe down from 60 to 0 in about 112 feet. Lateral grip? We're talking 0.90 on the skid pad with good tires. The Sport package adds stiffer springs, thicker anti-roll bars, and those gorgeous 19-inch staggered wheels, 8.5 inches wide up front, 9.0 in the rear. Weight distribution isn't perfect at 54 to 46, but it's close enough that the car feels balanced and predictable at the limit. Not all G37s are created equal, so let's break down what to look for. The G37 ran from 2008 to 2013, though it continued as the Q60 through 2015. If you want the best, hunt for a 2011 or 2012 G37S Coupe with the 6-speed manual. By 2011, Infiniti had updated the problematic gallery gasket, refreshed the styling, and worked out the early bugs. The IPL models from 2011 to 2013? Those are the factory hot rods. 348 horsepower, true dual exhaust, stiffer suspension, and exclusive aero. They're rare and command a premium, but honestly, you can build a regular G37 to outperform an IPL for less money. The 2009 model year brought the 7-speed automatic to replace the old 5-speed and introduced all-wheel drive as an option. The G37X models are great for snow states, but they're automatic only and weigh about 150 pounds more. Sedan or coupe? The sedan got a facelift in 2010 with LED taillights, and a more aggressive front end. It's more practical with a real back seat, but the coupe just looks better. That flowing roofline is pure sex. Skip the convertible unless you absolutely need a drop top. At 4,100 pounds, it's the porker of the family. One more thing. Avoid 2008 models unless they've had the ECU recall for sulfur issues addressed. And any 2009 to 2010 car, ask if the gallery gasket has been updated to the metal version. It's a known issue that costs about $500 to fix if it hasn't been done. Now for the fun part, making it faster. Stage 1 is where most people start. Cold air intake, catback exhaust, and an ECU tune. The Stillen Gen 3 Ultra Long Tube intake is the gold standard. It's good for 15 wheel horsepower and costs about $580. Pair that with a quality exhaust like the Fast Intentions catback at $1,600, and you're looking at another 10 to 15 wheel horsepower plus an absolutely intoxicating sound. But the real magic happens with the tune. Uprev and EcuTech are the go-to platforms for the VQ37. A good tuner like Admin Tuning or Specialty Z can extract another 20 to 30 wheel horsepower just by optimizing the fuel and timing maps. All in, a proper Stage 1 setup will take you from 270 wheel horsepower to about 300. That's roughly 350 to 370 at the crank. More importantly, the car feels transformed. Sharper throttle response, a higher rev limit, and that beautiful VQ wail at full throttle. Total investment? About $2,500 to $3,000 for parts and tuning. Not bad for a 30-plus horsepower gain that keeps full reliability. Stage 2 means going full bolt-on. Add high-flow catalytic converters or test pipes to your Stage 1 setup, and you're looking at another 10 to 15 wheel horsepower. Burke technology. HFCs run about $500 and give you most of the gains without the smell and emissions issues of test pipes. Some madmen go even further with long tube headers from Fast Intentions. That's another $400 to $1,800 and a pain to install, but they can add 15 to 20 wheel horsepower up top. With full bolt-ons and a great tune, especially on E85 if you have access to it, you can see 320 to 330 wheel horsepower. That's 370 to 380 at the crank, basically matching a 370Z Nismo. The best part? The stock engine internals handle this just fine. You're not stressing anything, just letting the engine breathe the way Nissan probably wanted to but couldn't for emissions. A full bolt-on G37 will run low 13s or even high 12s in the quarter mile, with good tires and a decent launch. That's genuinely quick for a naturally aspirated car. Stage 3 is where things get serious. Forced induction. The Stillen Supercharger kit is the most popular choice. For about $7,500, you get a complete centrifugal supercharger system that bolts on in about 15 hours. It runs 8 psi of boost and takes your G37 from 330 horsepower to over 500 at the crank. That's 420 wheel horsepower on 93 octane, enough to embarrass much more expensive cars. 0 to 60 drops into the mid 4-second range, and quarter miles in the high 12s are common. But if you want to go absolutely nuts, there's always turbo. Fast Intentions makes a twin-turbo kit for about $13,000 that can produce anywhere from 450 to 600-plus wheel horsepower depending on boost levels. The stock internals can reliably handle about 450 to 500 wheel horsepower. That's roughly 550 at the crank. Beyond that, you're rolling the dice unless you build the bottom end. Supporting mods become critical at this level. You'll need 650cc or larger injectors, an upgraded fuel pump. Definitely a clutch upgrade if you're manual. The stock one starts slipping around 400 wheel torque. An oil cooler is mandatory for track use. But imagine this, a 500 wheel horsepower G37 that still starts every morning and can be daily driven. That's the beauty of the VQ platform. It's overbuilt from the factory and responds incredibly well to boost. Power is nothing without control, so let's talk handling mods. BC Racing. BR coilovers are the sweet spot at about $1,000. They offer 30-way damping adjustment and can drop your G37 up to 2 inches while actually improving ride quality over worn stock shocks. If you've got deeper pockets, KW Variant 3s at $2,200 are basically the gold standard. German engineering with separate compression and rebound adjustment. For those on a budget, Eibach Pro Kit springs for $250 will drop the car about 0.8 inches and sharpen up the handling without being harsh. Add a set of Stillen sway bars, front and rear, for $400 to really dial out body roll. Brakes? If you don't have the Sport Package Akabonos, that's job one. A complete big brake kit with 14-inch rotors and 4-piston calipers runs about $200 and transforms the stopping power. Even if you have the sport brakes, upgrade to Hawk Horsepower S50 pads for $150 and some StopTech stainless lines for $120. You'll get better initial bite and a firmer pedal feel. Don't forget about bushings. That rear differential bushing loves to leak after 60K miles. A white line poly replacement is $60 and firms up the whole rear end. SPL adjustable arms let you dial in alignment after lowering. Crucial for tire wear and handling precision. Nothing transforms a G37's look and performance like the right wheel and tire setup. The factory 19s are actually pretty light at 23 pounds, but there's so much room for improvement. For the street, a staggered 19-inch setup like 9.5 by 22 offset front and 10.5 by 20 rear lets you run 255/35 front and 285/35 rear tires. That's a lot of rubber for maximum grip. You'll need to roll the rear fenders and dial in about -1.5 degrees of camber, but the stance is perfect. For track use, many drop to 18s for cheaper, lighter wheels and more tire selection. Something like 18 by 9.5 square with 265/40 tires all around gives you a neutral balance and the ability to rotate. Tire choice is crucial. Michelin Pilot Sport 4S are the gold standard for street performance, while something like Bridgestone RE71 RS transforms the car on track. And this is where our friends at threepiece.us come in. They're the experts at custom wheel fitment, especially if you want that perfect flush stance or a custom three-piece forged setup. They'll calculate the exact offset and width to maximize your G37's look without rubbing issues. Whether you want deep dish workmeisters or a modern monoblock design, threepiece.us has you covered with expert advice and competitive pricing. Remember, wheels and tires are your only contact with the road. Don't cheap out here. Let's address the elephant in the room. How does the G37 stack up against its rivals? The BMW 335i is the obvious competitor. On paper, they're close. The BMW makes 300 horsepower, but with twin turbos delivering 300 pound-feet of torque from just 1,400 RPM. The G37 counters with 330 horsepower but has to work for its torque. In a straight line, they're nearly identical to 60 miles per hour. But here's where it gets interesting. The 335i is a tuner's dream. A simple ECU flash adds 80 horsepower. But it's also a reliability nightmare. High-pressure fuel pump failures, turbo wastegate rattle, carbon buildup, leaking gaskets, the list goes on. Meanwhile, the G37 just keeps running. No turbos to fail, no direct injection to clog up, just bulletproof, naturally aspirated reliability. The Lexus IS350? It makes 306 horsepower, but feels more like a luxury cruiser than a sports sedan. No manual transmission, no limited slip differential, numb steering. The G37 absolutely destroys it in driving enjoyment. Plus, the G37 came standard with features that cost extra on the Germans: navigation, keyless entry, premium audio. And that limited slip diff that BMW didn't even offer? Standard on every G37 Sport. The Audi S5 with its V8 sounds amazing, but weighs 4,000 pounds and understeers like crazy. The G37 dances where the Audi plows. What's it actually like to own a G37? Let's start with the good. Reliability is exceptional. These engines routinely hit 200,000 plus miles with just basic maintenance. Oil changes every 5,000 miles with synthetic 5W30, spark plugs at 105,000 miles, and that's about it. No timing belt to worry about, just a chain that lasts forever. The interior holds up well, the tech was advanced for its time, and that Bose audio system still sounds fantastic. The bad? Fuel economy is terrible. Expect 18 mpg mixed driving on premium gas. That's the price of 330 naturally aspirated horsepower. The VQ engine has a characteristic rasp at high RPM that some find unpleasant, though the right exhaust can fix that. Common issues to watch for: the gallery gasket on 2009 to 2011 models. Check if it's been updated to the metal version. Manual transmission cars suffer from clutch slave cylinder failures. Budget for an upgrade. The steering lock module on 2009-2010 cars can leave you stranded. Many owners just pull the fuse. But compared to German rivals, these are minor inconveniences. You're not replacing turbos at 60k miles or dealing with endless electrical gremlins. The G37 is a car you can actually drive hard without fear of catastrophic failure. And the community is incredible. Forums like My G37 have DIY guides for everything, and parts are readily available from both OEM and aftermarket sources. So let's add this all up. You can buy a clean G37 for $10,000 to $15,000. Throw another $3,000 at Stage 1 mods, and you've got 370 horsepower. Want more? $8,000 gets you a supercharger and 500 horsepower. Even if you go crazy with suspension, wheels from threepiece.us, and every supporting mod, you're still under $30,000 all in for a 500 horsepower luxury sports car that's actually reliable. Compare that to buying and maintaining a used BMW M3 or Audi S4. The G37 represents something special. It's the last of the analog sports sedans. Naturally aspirated engine, hydraulic steering, available manual transmission. These are things you can't buy new anymore at any price. In 10 years, clean manual G37 coupes will be sought after the same way we chase E46 M3s today. The IPL models are already commanding premiums. This isn't just transportation. It's an investment in driving enjoyment that will only appreciate with time. The G37 does everything well. It's fast enough to be exciting, reliable enough to daily drive, comfortable enough for road trips, and capable enough for track days. It's the Swiss Army knife of enthusiast cars. The Infiniti G37 isn't just a great used car. It's the thinking enthusiast's choice. It delivers supercar thrills at economy car prices, with reliability that puts its rivals to shame. Whether you keep it stock or build it into a 600 horsepower monster, the G37 rewards you every time you turn the key. So what are you waiting for? Hit up the classifieds, find yourself a clean G37, and join the community that knows this secret. And when you're ready for those perfect wheels, remember to check out threepiece.us for expert fitment advice. Drop a comment with your dream G37 build. Hit subscribe for more hidden gems like this, and I'll see you on the road.